Welcome back to Two Nigerian Women. My name is Ibukun.
And my name is Abidemi. Welcome to today's episode. We have Uncle Sumade with us in the studio with his funny dilemmas. I hope you guys are ready because he has a lot to say.
Yeah, this will
Hello,
be a very interesting
everybody. It's
one.
somebody back here again.
Yes,
Good
Thank
to
you
welcome
be
for
back.
back.
coming. Thank you.
Welcome
Thank
back.
Thank
you.
We
you.
we had some very interesting reactions to the last time you were in the studio with us. Um, Very interesting comments. But thank you so
Yes.
much for those choosing to engage with us on any of the platforms you're listening to. Please do not forget to subscribe and also put on notifications if you can, so you know when a new podcast episode has been released. So, Uncle Sumade, let's go straight into it. What have you brought today?
Okay, today is a dilemma that can usually happen to men and maybe Nigerian men in particular. If
Mm-hmm.
so, we have a man, married man, and he needs to buy a car for, well, I don't want to say need. He wants to buy a car for his mom, and but
Mm-hmm.
his wife also needs a car. Who should he buy for? Who should he buy? And he can only afford one at the moment. Who should he buy the car for first? To sweeten the deal, let's say that she's a single mom that has sacrificed so much bringing him up, and he's only been
Mm-hmm.
married 1 or 2 years. So
Okay.
that's the
So, a
dilemma.
newly married man who was brought up by a single mom
Yeah.
has enough money to buy a car, and the dilemma is whether he gives the car to his mother or his wife.
Yes.
Okay, and
And they
what you
both
said
need
is,
they both need a car.
I was going to clarify, they both need the car.
Yes.
Okay. Hmm. Interesting. All
Does
right.
he have a car?
He has a car.
Well, if he has a car, both of them can share the car and he sorts his mother out.
Okay.
Simple.
That's one. Well, then the
Dilemma.
wife. Then what?
No.
Would the wife would be? Would the wife be happy with that? Because the wife may
Obviously,
be
she might
like, "Are you telling me you love my mom, your
she
mom more
won't
than me?"
she won't be happy, but he can appeal to her senses because hey, we're building
Hmm.
everything together. We are in this together. And we are going someplace and mom won't be around for long and it's something that I have promised her.
Hmm.
And I know
Hmm.
that you know that we have my card to share and I'll make it available for you whenever you need it. But it's a
Mhm.
temporal thing. But you'll be surprised I might actually work hard enough to get her a car as soon as possible. And anything can happen,
Hmm.
really, because these things, yes, they seem a bit far fetched, but it's reality for a lot of people. But having
Mhm.
said
Yeah.
that, we can also be reasonable
Hmm.
because if
We.
it's something that before he even got married, he's been talking about it with his mom, and then he got married to his wife, and yes, she's the new kid on the block. Doesn't mean that he's ignoring her, but we have a car already in the house, so let's go with mommy. But if I want to play devil's advocate, I'll say let's give the wife, and
No,
mommy
no,
can.
no. I don't even
Or
devil's
what if
advocate.
the wife's mom also needs a car?
The wife mom doesn't have her own children.
What if
Uncle
she's the only
Listen,
Sumade,
child of
okay,
her mom?
okay. Generally, it is a good thing. It's not a bad thing to want to spoil your
mm,
mother-in-law.
Yeah.
It's fine, but there are priorities. Do you understand? And we
Hmm.
expect you
Hmm.
to treat your mother-in-law better than your mom to a certain extent. I just because it's not you don't even have that connection like that. You have connection by marriage. You don't have that connection. She's not your mom, so you don't even know the struggles. Yes, she must have had the struggles, but her child went through the struggles with her. You didn't, so you cannot
Hmm.
even
mhm,
relate to it. So
mhm,
in
Yeah.
that kind of situation, your mom comes first. But even the situation that is not both moms are actually have actually struggled for their children and have come to this point, then everyone will just have to
Yeah.
wait until I'm able to provide for everyone. But I feel that his mom should get a car first because you understand the struggle and she's a single mom, brought him up. Everything that he has become without rubbing it in his wife's face can be attributed to the mom's prayers, hard work, investment,
Hmm.
support, love, provision. But yeah, we're not going to negate the fact that the mother-in-law didn't do stuff, but I think her child can relate to it more. But if you're
Mm.
talking about, because it's a bit confusing, you want car for mother, you want car for mother-in-law, you want car for wife. How far now?
Is
Well,
that
let us
confusing?
first of all,
Is that not the
let us
it might not
first
be
of all
car, but that
commend.
is like the daily
Yeah,
load
you will be
that
more realistic if you see
Wait
a house.
rich
You'll be
children
now,
more
carry.
before you
actually.
go far, before
No,
you
actually,
go
you'll be
far,
no,
see,
you'll be
before you
more
go far.
realistic if you say a house. A lot of people actually want a house as compared to a car.
Wait,
So if you're talking about
Yeah.
building a house for the
now,
mom, building a
Sissy,
house for the mother-in-law,
First of all, the
yeah,
man has a generous spirit. Let us first of all commend that to the point that he wants to give someone something. He
yes,
has a generous spirit, and any person, forget man or woman, with a generous spirit is a rare find. So let us first
yeah,
of all commend. Let's clap for
especially in
some.
this day and
Let's
age.
clap
So
for the
yeah,
gentleman. Ehen.
yeah.
Okay.
Let's
Now,
clap for Sumati.
let's clap for Sumade. Now, the situation is the dilemma only comes in play if there is some bad blood, genuinely, between the wife and the mother in law. If the
Yeah.
wife is in the same vein of her husband, loving that woman because, like you said, single mother brought him up to the point that he's a
Mm.
generous spirit married to a woman and still married for after 2 years of marriage because we know marriage is not easy, then she would
Yeah.
have no issue whatsoever. However, when you're in that situation and the wife is like, of course, give it to the mom, you also need to commend the woman's generosity of spirit because she needs that car as well.
Yeah.
So wonderful. Two generous spirits in the marriage. Therefore, by giving the mom the car, by God's grace, more will be added to them, and the wife would eventually get her car. I always
Yeah,
believe in the law of sowing and reaping. What you sow, you would reap.
we
Before
reap.
you know
Yep.
it, Sissy will get a
Yeah.
car as well. That's my perspective. Sorry, Bidemi. I just wanted to point out, before we start looking at different angles,
Scenario. No, it does
situation.
make you're bringing another
Yeah.
perspective to
Yeah.
it, which is quite
Yeah.
good because I'm looking at it from another point. But like you said, we need to applaud the
Mm.
man and even the wife that is able to sacrifice her comfort for the mother-in-law because she understands where her husband is coming from and she knows that if he has more, he will do a lot more. And even
Mhm,
that love will extend to her own mother. So it must be
mhm,
applauded
Yeah.
because in this day and age, a lot of people that are very, very, very selfish and are very
mhm,
very into themselves and very what's that word, they don't think about other people. It's me
mhm,
self-serving. I come first and all of
Yeah.
you can have the remnant. You have that even in the work environment. You have people that are only there to tear other people down to get onto the next post and the next post and the next post, and your feelings are
Yeah.
irrelevant because what they want to get in the end. So we need to applaud people that are still selfless in this economy, in this day
mhm,
and age where you are told actually that if you are selfless, you are foolish. Yeah, people
Yeah.
who actually mock you for being like we're talking about that job thing I was telling you about in
mhm,
our last episode, and I
mhm,
mentioned about a job. So the case was that
mhm.
I was serving
Oh,
and
Yeah.
Sissy.
I got job
Yeah, she's
openings.
a bit frozen. Let me make a
Oh,
note.
sorry.
She's frozen.
I got job openings and I was always passing on to my fellow UCall members. And one of my friends, I was supposed to be a Christian, went like, don't you think that you sharing it with other people are spoiling your own chances? And I was a bit
Mhm,
taken aback because that's not what I was looking at it.
Mm.
If I win, we all win. If you win, we all win. At least let
mhm,
somebody get something out of it. I know some people will find those kind of things and keep it to themselves. But even at that, I had the wisdom. I think I was about 24 or 23. And I told him that anything that's meant for me will be for me, whether I send it to people or not send it to people. But it was just the fact that
Yeah.
you are that actually have gone ahead and have been, it's more about you. And
mhm,
if I'm going to share to other people and they're going to get the opportunity and I won't get it, then there's no point sharing it. I might as well keep it to myself. So even if I'm not even up to the task, I'll keep it to myself because I
mhm,
just feel that I have to come first. But that is the
mhm,
reality. And you have people that, and that's supposed to be a Christian. Hopefully his
mhm,
mindset has changed. But you have
mhm,
people that actually shame you for
Yeah.
doing what is right or
mhm,
being truthful
mhm.
Mm.
or refusing to do things that everyone else is doing because that's not the way the world works. It's not practical. So it's something that
Yeah.
must be applauded
Could I
seriously
bring
on
another?
everyone's part. Even the mother in law, you'll be
Mm,
surprised. Excuse me, the husband's mom might
Mm-hmm.
actually say, no, give your wife, you're married to her now. I will
Mm,
wait. I've waited. I'm comfortable, or I have a house, or you've gotten me this. Yeah, there's
mm,
plenty of
mm.
time for you. So you might have a little bit of that. It might just be both of them actually willing to sacrifice their comfort for the other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sumade, I really
Yeah.
want you to
I
share your
mean,
perspective, especially from the male perspective, and then I would come. I have another thought. So please, Sumade, go ahead.
it's I feel from the male perspective, it's difficult because you carry this thing where you're like, okay, and especially if your mom and your wife don't get along,
Mm,
Mm.
so you're juggling this. How do you balance this emotional thing? Because
mm-hmm,
if they don't get along, then how do you convince your wife that don't worry, I've still got you, but I've
mm,
got to, you know, do this for my mom now.
mm,
And like you said,
mm,
maybe car is not even what a lot of people want. They want house.
A
That
roof over their
becomes a
head.
big thing because, and then their in-laws, So okay, you're doing this for your mom. What about my mom?
mm,
You're doing this for your siblings. What about my siblings? And it's you now have this big extended family that you want to be generous, you want to bless, but then you're having to, if you give one, you have to give the other, and you still have to
mm,
you still
mm,
have to support your core family, and it becomes a case of
mm,
how much can you sustain.
mm-hmm,
Somebody's going to be upset.
We left out, yeah. But having
Yeah,
said that, we have to applaud, like you were still saying. My dad actually did it, but it was a house. So when I was growing up,
yeah,
bless him, I think I was in just 2 or 3, so must have been about 12 or 13. He built a house for his mom before
yeah,
he built his own. He had land, but he didn't have a house. So
mm,
he built a house for
right,
his mom, and I remember going to the old family house because I schooled in my village for a bit, so I stayed with her. So going
yeah,
to the old family house, and the
okay,
next time I came back, we had moved to the new family house that he had built
mm,
on the same
yeah,
land, but they broken a bit of the old one. And we didn't
mm.
even have a roof over our heads. But I guess in his mind, if anything happened, we sure had a house. No one's going to choke us out.
All of
But we
you
didn't
would
have
go
a
there
house.
mm,
together.
We did not have our own. He didn't have any house. We didn't have
mm,
anything. So you have people that have actually done that. I don't know if he consulted my mom. I don't know if he asked her. I don't know what the conversation was, but I definitely know that there was a house before he
yeah,
had his.
Mm,
So there are
yeah,
people that do that, but I think it's more realistic when I talk about house. A lot of people it's not car because car comes with fuel and all
mm,
sorts of things. But house, you have a roof over your head, you don't have to pay rent to anyone. You have your own
yeah,
gated
yeah,
compound, like we call it. We don't necessarily have to worry. You can house people instead of people housing you or paying rent. So that's
mm-hmm,
more realistic in
mm-hmm,
the Nigerian sense of the word. A car for some people
yeah,
is a luxury, but a house is not a luxury, it's a necessity. For some people, a car is
yeah,
a necessity. Obviously. But if you're talking about an
yeah,
elderly person that has had children that are married, that has lived her life, so the prime years are over, she's in the twilight years of her life, so she's more than what do you call it? She's middle age or above middle age. Then it's a
mm-hmm,
house,
yeah, yeah,
a palace. They're comfortable that
mm,
they
mm.
can call their own, not necessarily a car.
No, but Sissy,
yeah,
cars are also a big deal, especially
No,
like you
I
said.
know. That's why I said that it depends. It varies. There's some people like I have
Mm-hmm.
family members that if I ask them you want car or house, no, no, no. They will say they want house because they can be
Now,
landlord of
house
something.
is
It is
house is
mine.
much is a bigger
You cannot
expense
live
yeah,
in
than a
a car.
car.
Yeah, but you can't live in a
Some
car.
people live in a car. Some people live in
In this
car.
country, you cannot live in
Yeah,
a car in Nigeria. They will
no,
kidnap you
no,
and the
no.
car.
Son would carry you into somewhere else. Okay, but
So you
expensive
cannot live in
like
a car in
that.
Nigeria. In this country, you can live in a car, yes, because there are
Mhm,
parks, places that you can park. But there's nothing like that because you have to still park it on someone's land. So instead, have a house on the land. So when you look at it
mm,
realistically, a lot of people actually will always prefer. So that dilemma you're talking about is more practical when it comes
yeah.
to this than necessarily
no,
I
car.
mean, I was going from the
it's
perspective that
much
okay,
function.
Mama,
Yeah.
Mama has already built herself a house, but the cars she's
Okay.
driving, He's on his last
Will not
legs. He's always breaking
Okay.
down.
Now
You know
you're
that
giving
kind of.
yes,
Mhm.
you're giving context to it.
Yeah,
Yes. But
Okay.
that's actually what
yeah,
happened in my own family as well. But you're giving better
mm,
context to it.
yeah,
Context.
In
But
terms of there's
Sumade,
already
you
a
saying
house, so I need
something.
a car because
mm,
my car keeps breaking down. And that was a
yeah.
scenario in my own family.
Mm,
So
well,
Okay.
I
but
can
Bidemi, Bidemi,
mm,
somebody raised a very valid point. What if the wife and the
yes.
mother-in-law don't then get along? And there are many marriages that it's a tale as old as time. The in-laws, the mother-in-law not being the nicest
Yeah,
and
Story
things
for another
like
day. Yep. Yep.
exactly.
Yeah.
And if we look at that sort of situation where you do have that acrimony between the wife and the mother-in-law, that this
Yeah.
dilemma is a significant issue because it's not even
It is a
jealousy.
real thing.
It's not even jealousy
yeah,
in terms of why would you do this for your mom as opposed to for me. It's the fact that this person causes them pain on a regular basis.
yeah.
And in spite of
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
that, you are gifting them what I myself need. It's beyond
Yeah,
selfless. It's almost like long suffering where the thing will be
Mm.
biting the person and mentally, almost even physically, the person will be tense in such a situation. And it's a very delicate situation to navigate. And I think the man needs to be very wise, and God helping him with counsel around him on how he does that. If his
Yeah.
mother desperately needs that car, then I personally would say, please go on, give it to the woman before the woman causes more trouble for the wife, right? But
Mm.
if she
yeah,
doesn't desperately need the car, she can still do whatever she needs to do with what she has, then he should give it
Yes.
to the
yeah,
wife. Because genuinely, the wife is the priority in the primary home. And this is not even happy wife, happy life. Or it's the fact that this woman, especially bearing in mind if both of you are working towards the same financial goals, this woman
Mm.
is
yes,
here as my helper, and therefore she should have not even the luxury, she should have the tools she needs to drop the children in school, get to work,
yeah,
go
No,
to
but so said they
come
are
out.
newly married though. They are newly married. Let's say 2 years. What if
And
they
go
don't have two
with
years?
the
yeah,
baby now.
What if they're still in honeymoon phase? So they're doing everything together.
Yeah,
See
see,
this
they have that are 1 year
no, but
old.
no, but these scenarios, the dilemma changes with a different dynamic every time.
Yes,
So
it
it's
does.
never
But
yeah,
going to
let's
be
not
perfect.
speak specifically about this dilemma anymore because we
Okay,
don't
okay.
know we don't know the relationship between the wife and the mother-in-law. Or do you know, Uncle Sumade?
But we don't
no, no,
actually
no,
have to.
Okay. No, but you have
no,
to see. There are some women that are going through it as we speak. And if you're listening to us and you're going through it, please share your experiences in the comments. Send us a message on
yeah,
Instagram or even
Mm.
email. Because there's some women who unfortunately do not have the best in-laws. And
Yep.
they're not even necessarily evil. They could be just passive in terms of how they treat each other. And it's either way, or the wife to the
yeah,
mother-in-law, the mother-in-law to the wife. So being very sensitive to that situation, first of all, the man needs to know the people he has, in terms of his wife and his mother. He needs to understand what giving the car to either one of them would mean. So to finish off that trail of thought I was going on about, if
Yeah.
the mother is fine up until a certain point, I think you should give the car to the wife, then tell the mom, Mommy, we know, we being myself and my wife, we know
Yeah.
you need this car. By God's grace, within a time frame, we are working towards getting you the car. So not just give it and almost like forget the other party, but explain to the other
yeah,
party a timeline and the intention to fulfill that need in their lives. That's all I'm thinking. But yeah, it can go either way, especially if the
Mm.
relationship is not solid. But go ahead, Sissy.
There will always be somebody that feels disgruntled, though. So you can't necessarily help it. And sometimes these men, do they know their parents? Because you're looking at it from it. Sometimes some mothers see the
Mm,
daughter-in-law as the outsider.
mm,
yeah,
So no
mm,
matter what, they already have an unconscious bias towards you, and they will never accept. So they
Mm.
can love your child, but they will not accept you because that's just who they are.
So
And even
what do you think of that? I've heard of this
myself,
strategy where because even when your in-laws or your mother-in-law especially doesn't love you, the daughter-in-law is advised to almost become, what's the word I want to, you over please. You go there all the
over,
time. When they are doing
yeah,
something, you go there early, you leave late, you are
yeah,
calling, you almost to them more like your mother than
yeah,
their own children.
them. Yes, you're trying to win them over. Well, to a certain, I think it
You
depends
win
on the
them over.
individual. Yes, it depends on who your personality, because not everyone's going to grovel. You don't like me, you don't
Yeah.
like
Mm.
me.
Yes.
That's okay. But some people are not okay
Yeah.
with that because a lot of the times you also have people when it comes to family that think about, yeah, we're going to show her, let just anything happen to our brother, then we will deal with her kind of scenario.
Yeah.
So it's
Mm.
almost
Yeah. Yeah.
an opportunity to when, but even when you show them love, they can turn around. I know a scenario where family, yes, they
Mhm.
didn't like the wife at first, and they were tolerated her, so they were fine, and then the man now dies, and they were just horrible in every sense of the word.
Mm.
Even
Yeah.
the
Mm.
ones that the wife was
Yeah.
actually doing everything. In fact, when the man didn't have money, the wife gave the man money and made it seem like it was from him. Then the man
Mm.
suddenly dies, and
Mm-hmm.
you say, "Oh, by the way, it's you." Do you understand? So you can't help people if people don't like you. I
Yeah.
think you should only
Mm.
go to where you're
Mm.
celebrated. And that's why we keep
Yeah.
teaching our children until now. Because a lot of things, no matter how they try to explain it, oh, it's family, you don't do things like that, it doesn't make it right. A lot
Mm.
of things have gone on
Mm.
in terms of culture, and you can't challenge a lot of things because that's the way it's always been done. Oh, that's the way it's always been done.
Yeah.
And that's why
Yeah.
I keep saying it every time we have conversations. It's not the way it's always been done, because there was a time that planes were not flying, and now planes are flying, and you get on a plane and you travel.
Mm.
So you
Mm.
can't, or there were no escalators, and now you can step on something and it takes you to the 10th floor or whatever. You got used to that. So
Yeah.
you cannot say, oh, that's the way everything, let's leave it like that. Change is the only
Mm.
constant. We evolve, we change. The only thing that doesn't change is the word of God. Seriously.
It's very true.
And God,
But you see,
But should we change our culture? Because
but
our
if we can't change
culture.
our culture,
are actually not right.
we can't
And
change
there's so
our
many
culture.
things, because
Sorry.
I need to change.
there's a lot of culture that has been
Fine.
based
Yeah.
on things that are not right. There's also a very patrilineal or
Patrick.
patrimonial is being practiced in full
Mm.
force, and you are made to feel small because you are of a different gender. Let us unpack that, because there's a lot of that going
Okay.
on in under the umbrella of culture. You abuse
Mm.
people.
So,
You're
Madi,
under the umbrella of culture.
this is deep.
Somebody
Oh.
dies, and then
Mm.
you tell them, oh, you have to shave your hair, you have to eat sand, you have to stay with the dead body, or you have to drink the
Mm.
water from the cups. That
Mm.
doesn't. And
Mm.
then, by the way, if they drink water from the cups and then she passes away, she killed him. Cups, didn't they
Mm.
use chemical to wash? They're ingesting
To
chemical.
worship.
Would somebody die?
Okay. To give
So do you understand?
context, to non-Nigerians listening, there is a
Mm,
deep-seated situation within Nigerian tribes on how a wife is treated. And I don't think, to
mm,
answer your question, I don't think we can change culture, but people can change. You do not need
or
to keep
modify
on
it.
that culture, or also then pass it on to the generation after you.
Mm,
Now, the reason why this becomes contentious, especially in Nigerian context, is unfortunately more often than not, you don't end up in the situation with the best in-laws. Either way, you might end up with a daughter-in-law that is not the best. You might end up with a mother-in-law that's not the best. And actually, it happens everywhere, to be honest with you. It's everywhere. But in
mm,
Nigeria, the oppression that Bidemi has alluded to can be extremely dangerous, to the point of they would kill each other one way or the other. So
Yeah.
yeah.
to
Yeah.
what you brought as a dilemma, we're considering it in the context of not even a happy family, but a family that is not to the point of cultural um, danger. Let's put it that way. The dangerous part of
Yes.
our
I didn't
culture.
want to go that far. I wanted to go.
Mm-hmm,
I was thinking because first of all, there's respect for elders, which is
mm-hmm,
very heavy in our culture.
mm,
So it's almost like, how can you bypass an elderly person who has obviously
Mm,
sacrificed so much for you, and
mm-hmm,
you know, go to the younger person or take the younger person's side, you know. This is not just about this dilemma, it's about any interaction with extended family, you know, when
mm,
it's almost like they can put either the husband or the wife into a catch-22 situation where they want to like when you have a baby and
mm-hmm.
they want to start telling you, oh, you should name the child this way, or they want to start giving you advice on how to raise the child, or I don't know whether you guys have experienced it, but sometimes
No, that,
you just have to you're sitting with them and they're giving you some advice and you're thinking, okay, thank you, you know. But and you almost want to say butt out of our lives, but you can't say that because
You never
they
dare
are
to.
they're,
You never
they're,
dare to.
they're elderly and supposedly they've been
Well,
through it
no,
and they know more.
not even about the age. It's as much as the position. They're in a position that you
Yeah,
should respect or birth the person you are married to. You
yeah,
yourself will be
yeah,
in that position as well. So we are mothers, Sissy and I. I cannot imagine my future daughter-in-law being disrespectful or to me, and I don't want to ever do that. So literally do unto others as you want others to do to
yeah,
you. And
yeah,
i
yeah,
i, I understand. I understand situations where yes, decisions are made by the man, but also the woman as well, because we're talking about, if you will, a very traditional setup. But what
yeah,
if the woman
yeah,
is the one with a higher income, who is also the one buying the car? That would flip it on the head, right? So if you can put
yeah,
yourself in
yeah.
those shoes
Because I
on
did want to say
both
that
sides.
it the way we set it
Mhm.
up was almost as if the money was all his, but it could
yeah,
be
yeah,
Exactly.
a joint pot,
yeah.
and
From the
this is the
they
excess,
have a
and they
joint,
both have to decide what to
yeah,
do with it.
they have a joint business that they've been running as a couple, and that's where the money
Mhm.
Yeah,
is coming from. There's no
yeah,
decision that goes on usually. Is we're all married, and there's no decision that has to do with the house, money, finances
Mhm.
that doesn't go through the other spouse. We talk about it.
yeah,
Mhm.
The point that
yeah,
one is any more than the other, it doesn't mean. And the funny thing is that this scenario you mentioned, the Bukun, about some wives out end their husbands, but it's not spoken about a lot because it's almost like it's a
No.
taboo. And
Mm,
that's one
mm,
of the things
oh
that we're
yeah,
talking about when it comes to culture, because a cultural thing, the man is the provider. So when he cannot provide, then he's not a man.
mhm.
And let us flip that on the head. It just because the cultural thing does not make it right. Because these things
yeah,
happens. There are
yeah,
mothers or there are women that are breadwinners. It doesn't mean make the man any less
No,
or
it
make him
doesn't.
feel
yeah,
incomplete. But it is what it is. And if it's not
Mhm.
dragging, we're not dragging a
mm,
position with you. You still remain the head. We're not dragging anything with you, but this is what is happening. Does it make
yeah,
me see you any less? No. Do you understand? We are still in this
yeah,
together. So you have just a lot of things, and that's why context. Also, even if the husband decides to get the car for his wife, for his mother, and not his wife, what kind of relationship do they have? Because if you have an understanding, there's not really like, okay, I know somebody, a brand new car. So brand new car was bought for the mother-in-law, not for the wife.
Mm,
Standard. Way
yeah,
before the wife, there was no brand new car, in fact. It was
mm,
after the
yeah,
mother-in-law got the car that the wife got her own car. But did the
mm,
wife feel funny about it? I doubt that very much. I don't even think it was seen as an issue because there's an understanding. These are
okay,
two people that in together, they understand
mhm.
each other. It doesn't make me just because you got something for your car, doesn't make me see myself any less or make me feel
Mm,
like I'm not a wife.
mm.
I'm
But that's a
subordinate
very
to you.
mature way to look at it, Bidemi, and that
a
Mm.
very,
maturity
very, yeah,
for
very
you has
mature.
through years of marriage, because this is a newly married couple, and there's
Mm,
nothing marriage would not teach you. Genuinely, I think there's a
true. But that's
proverb
why
that
also you should be
learn in
friends
the
before
house
you
of.
become. You should be friends before you cross that threshold. A lot of people skip the friendship part and cross the threshold and they want to go back to being friends. Do
They're
you
not
understand?
looking at
Yeah,
friendship when they get married. They're looking at something
No,
else.
you need to know the person. Yeah, we'll be able to have some conversations that don't even make any sense to even the layman.
I agree.
Have
I
some
agree.
yeah,
conversations
I,
friend
mm,
before you became anything else. Do you
I
understand? So
totally
even
agree.
when all the Because also as couples, you get to the point that it doesn't mean that we hate each other. We're in love with each other, but it's not that fire, passion, guns
Mm-hmm.
blazing, everything. But we're still together and we love each
Mm-hmm.
other. But
Mm-hmm.
that's that
Yeah.
friendship because we've built a friendship, we have an understanding, we
Mm-hmm.
see ourselves at first as friends before anything. So we can even still have that friendship because we started out with the foundation of being friends. So what kind of relationship did they have? They met 6 months and they got
Yeah.
married. Even in 6 months, you can still get to know someone, talk about these hard questions, these hard issues, and still know them because there is no cookie cutter way of courtship or marriage. There's no way.
There's
Just do
none.
it right. Me, I know about
Yeah.
the way the Lord wants it to be done. Every other person knows by their own standard of the way the world wants it.
Mm-hmm.
That's on them.
Yeah.
But there are people that meet 2 months, they know each other and want to get married, and they're still waxing strong because they got to know themselves.
Hmm.
See, I think, okay, so if we go back to the context of this dilemma, newly married
And
man,
also, first, before we go on, what if
yeah.
they've been dating for 20 years and they got married for 2? Aha.
Ah, hey, madam, why now?
You,
Why? Why?
you have people like that, they've been dating for 5, 10 odd years and then they got married for 2. They've known
Okay,
themselves for a lifetime. Or
this
they've been
one is
dating
not
since
an exam.
secondary school. Wait, now they've been dating since
But
secondary school.
I
Secondary
think you
school
over,
is
I
11,
think
12. Let's
you underestimate. Believe me, I think you underestimate the interpersonal dynamics. You can be friends with your wife
Of
and you can know your mother.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, and I'm just talking from
Mm-hmm.
a
mm-hmm.
guy's point of view now. But
Okay.
Okay.
you get confused why they don't get along,
Uh,
and you don't really, because you try and justify something that your mom says to her, and she'll be like, "Yeah, I know you
Mm.
support her because she's your mom." Or you try and you don't even know how to excuse your wife to your mom because you're like, no, she doesn't. She's not like that. Because if your mom says that your wife, she doesn't go call me. You understand? And you be like, oh, but she's busy or okay, it's okay. You know those kind of passive
mm,
aggressive
mm, mm,
statements, and
mm-hmm,
you're like one stuck in the middle. And you don't know what to say. You're friends with your wife.
mm,
It's not that you're not friends with
mm.
her, but if she and your mom don't get along, it almost feels like a minefield trying to, you know,
Navigate those relationships without trying to make the other.
navigate these two relationships.
It is
You
a
I
know,
think to a
minefield.
certain
It
extent,
is.
overall, is that we
Perspective.
both love this man, though we have different
yeah,
levels of love. I'm not trying to take your position. You are not trying to take my position because also as
Mm,
moms, and I just think about it that how can I love a child and love the husband and there's no clash? If we can do it,
mm,
you can actually love your daughter-in-law and still love your son, but that doesn't make it any less. But see her as
mm,
someone that
yeah,
wants the best for your son too. It is very tricky, but you never know until you get to that point. And
mm-hmm,
also, personalities clash. They might not see eye to eye
yeah,
because
yeah,
they have very different personalities. They don't see each other, they don't agree, or even have the same personality, they just don't like each other. It could be
yeah.
anything. All it
mm,
takes is a tiny something small, and then it escalates to something totally different. So it's different
Mm,
for different people.
yeah,
mm.
And that's the thing. It's a very tricky one. And sometimes we can't even make head or tail of these kind of situations until we are put in those kind of
Into
situations.
it. It's
Because
true.
yeah, yeah,
it's easy to talk. Talk is cheap. Let's see you walk the walk, and then we don't know.
ah,
So
that's
Exactly
it
true.
is
that.
hard. It is hard. And you might come as a daughter-in-law wanting to love everything and everyone and let's hold hands and
Mm,
do
mm.
kumbaya, and then you find that there's a pushback. I don't want
You
to hold
find
hands
they
with
don't
you. I
like
don't want to
you.
kumbaya with you. I don't like you. I don't even
Mm-mm.
want to like you
Yeah,
because I feel that has given you all the attention in the world, and then we
You
are
are
second.
spoiling my child.
That's
You
the
know,
thing. It will be anything.
it
Or there
could
used
be
to be a lot more
anything.
money
yeah,
to go around, and now somebody has to put you first. I've had situations like that. So
Mm,
when you look at it, there's no one size fits all. I think when it
mm-mm.
comes to
yeah,
relationship, you navigate as best as you can, and I think you take what you are
yeah,
given. Not be antagonistic, not being funny towards your mother-in-law, not being rude, not being.
Mm-mm.
out of the way. I think because if you can have some grace for your family members, though you can be rude to them and they get you, they don't get upset. But you have
Mm,
to understand that this is another person, this is not a member of your family that's grown up with you, so cannot make excuses for you. So
mm,
there has to be a thingy of hindsight,
mm-hmm,
knowing how I'm going to react to the situation, how I'm going to respond, how I'm going to talk to this person that doesn't
mm,
come across. I know sometimes we can't help it, whether you say it in the meekest voice. There are some
mm.
people that take offense, but we
Okay,
have to
so
remember.
Yeah.
could we summarize this though in terms of, and I think we've talked around this, but let's say it very, very directly. The husband and the
Mhm.
wife need to agree the next step in that decision, and agree in terms
Yes.
of um it might not be a compromise to favor the wife, but the wife should be part of the decision making process in terms of what happens with this car. And
Mm.
God bless the husband for being generous. God bless the wife for hopefully having a generous spirit as well, irrespective of the
Mhm.
Yeah.
circumstances
Yeah.
around them.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That being said, it's been an amazing few minutes talking through this dilemma with Uncle Sumade. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
joining us in the Two Nigerian Women studio again. And for those of you
Thank
listening,
you.
we are interested in your thoughts about the conversations we have. So please put in the comments box your thoughts or any dilemmas you want us to talk about. Sissy, over to you.
Yes. I enjoyed today's episode. I wish we had longer, actually, because there's just so much to talk about and
Yeah,
understand
there is.
case for. And I'm sure there's some cases we didn't even scratch the surface of it or even make a case for, because people are going through a lot of things. But yes, I enjoyed today, and hopefully Uncle can come back soon and give us some of his wisdom nuggets in argument land. So yes, thank you, and let us know how you
Okay.
feel about the episode. If you have anything you want us to talk about, or even your share your experience, if you have been in this kind of situation or something similar, we'll love to hear it.
Okay. Uncle Sumade, would you come back?
I will definitely be back. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you so much. Have a blessed day, everyone. And we will say bye now.
Have a blessed
Bye.
day.
Bye.
And a wonderful week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.